Okay, so as you can see from this slide, this was basically our personal motivation, but because Mustafa and I, we met in France while I was working in France, and we had some kind of dilemma when we were trying to establish collaboration. So, for instance, when it comes to the collaboration axis, as you can see, there are internal versus external options that you could choose, right? You could work internally versus externally. When you work externally, you could have access to new resources and stuff, but at the same time, you have to be you have to be thinking about the issues related to communications, and you cannot have face-to-face interaction in a regular term, right? And at the same time, if you, on the other hand, if you work internally, you have much more better access to the resources, and you could interact face-to-face more often. However, the issue may be there is nothing really new from your internal organization, so you're faced with this dilemma, right? And another element that you have to consider is the multidisciplinarity of your research. So should you specialize in one area of research or one discipline, or should you work on multiple areas of domains or disciplines, right? This is one of the dilemmas that we keep having. As we are moving more toward the era where there are a lot of challenges that do not require just one specialty or expertise in one specific subject, we are required to do a lot of resourcing in terms of expertise from a variety of disciplines, right? So we're always in dilemma. So I want you to think about where are you located within this matrix, right? We have this 2x2 matrix, and where are you, right? And by the end of our presentation, you'll be able to figure out where are you located and where should you go, okay, as a right direction forward, okay? So once again, we're currently under the institutional pressure to produce not only making your work to be published in top journals, but also in terms of publishing your work and getting many citations, right? Receiving a high number of forward citations, you call it, right? So we're under this pressure of visible or vanished, okay? And before it was like publish or perish, but now we're also faced with visible and or vanished, right? So with these matrix in mind, multidisciplinarity and collaboration options, we're trying to explain how these two elements of our research approach could be affecting our visibility in terms of by looking at the number of forward citations you're going to receive, okay? Especially in terms of citation, we're not talking about, the societal impact of your research, but we're just focused on the academic impact, which is shown on the number of citations, right? And like I mentioned on this slide, not all highly cited research papers are generating a lot of social impact, but it's not difficult to argue that they have been at least very important for the academic progress, right? And our scope of our visibility and the citation is focused on academic, impact. So with this in mind, the main source of our webinar presentation is based on this paper, which is published in 2018 by Mustafa and myself, and it's published in Research Policy. So if you could just click on the DOE code, then you'll be able to download the paper soon. And also, these 3 additional papers are the things that we've been working on for the last few years, and they're published in these decent journal outlets. So if you have any chance to explore further, then you're welcome to read these papers as well and ask questions if you like. So now we're going to move on to the learning outcome. So by the end of the webinar, you should be able to answer the following questions. Number 1, learning outcome number 1, how does your research background in terms of whether you're unidisciplinary or multidisciplinary affect the individual's citations? And learning outcome number 2, how does your collaboration, whether it's internal versus external, affect the individual's citations? And learning outcome number 3, are there any differences between how early career researchers and established researchers or academics should conduct research to attract more citations? So these are 3 elements that we're learning outcomes that we're going to address. And also, if you could keep in mind about those 2x2 matrix that I've shown you before, and then you can make a contrast between that and our suggestion toward the end. Okay. So there are key terms that you have to remember or just to familiarize yourself with, because we're going to use these words quite interchangeably throughout our presentation. So number one key term is visibility, which refers to the number of citations received by individual scholars, okay? And the second is cognitive openness, which refers to the multidisciplinary background of individuals. We refer to their past publication records to measure this concept, okay? The third one is structural openness, which is the proportion of external collaborations of individuals, which means how much do you focus on external compared with your internal collaboration, okay? And the last one is career age. We also say career stage, and then we're trying to make a distinction between junior scholars, junior academics versus senior scholars or senior academics. These are the key terms, right? So based on these key terms and concepts, we're trying to test how cognitive openness, scholars' career stage, structural openness affect the impact of scholars' research, which is measured as the yearly citations. This is called dependent variable, the impact scholars' research. And the three variables or concepts that you see on the left-hand side of the slides, we'll call it as independent variables, okay? So to have answers for our learning outcome, number one, we're going to see how cognitive openness, which is measured as the number of different disciplines a scholar has covered up to the current year, influences the impact of scholars' research, which is measured as the yearly citations. All right. And then to talk about learning outcome number two, we're going to see how the structural openness, which is at the bottom left box, which is measured as the ratio between the number of external collaborations and the number of collaborations of a scholar up to the current year, affects or influences the impact of scholars' research in terms of the yearly citations. And lastly, to see if there's any difference in scholars' career stage. For instance, like, is there any difference in terms of the magnitude of effect on the cognitive openness and structural openness on the impact of research across different stages of a scholar's career? We're going to interact this scholar's career stage variable with the cognitive openness, and also we're going to interact this one with the structural openness to answer to learning outcome number three. So here, to measure a scholar's career age to figure out whether a person is junior or senior, we take into account the length of a scholar's research career up to the current year.